Host Locke, and this is the podcast where we drink, smoke, and bullshit about the life of a historic criminal. Now we're talking outlaws and gangsters. We're not going to cover too many serial killers. That's just a little bit dark for me, and this ain't no true crime podcast. Honestly, you can't call this a history podcast because I'm no historian. I'm just a history fan that does some research and bullshits about it with his friends. So speaking of my friends, let me introduce you to my co-host. First with us today, we got back by popular demand, K-Deezy.
What's up? What's up?
With us today for the first time, Sixfoe Burt.
Yo, follow me on Instagram, Sixfoe Burt, SIXFOEBURT.
And then back with us, we got the Duke, Dan the Man Levitan.
What up, what up, what up?
I made us drinks today, and we all know I make half-ass cocktails, mixing as few ingredients as possible. But today, we got this drink. It's called a highball. Dan, you had one on the podcast before, correct?
No, yeah, we've dabbled in the highball a few times.
You two is your first time trying one?
Yeah, I don't really drink often, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's not a big drinker. Only when I'm around. He usually has a couple beers with me, but other than that.
What do you guys think?
It's actually pretty good. I like the citrus with it.
Why don't you tell her what's in a highball?
I just realized, though, like, the fucking ice cube's a ball, so.
Yeah, it's actually
part of the name.
highness.
Yeah, that's where the highness comes in.
It actually at one point was a Death Star.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
I can see that. I can see the grooves in there.
Yeah.
It's a little melted down now because it's been in there, but yeah, it was a Death Star. A lot of the drinks or cocktails, you make that because it melts a little bit slower, so it keeps it cool without watering it down as quick.
See, I wouldn't know
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Know that.
That's some old man drinking shit. You'll
There
get
you
there
go.
eventually.
Yeah,
You know,
probably.
that's experience. But this drink, it's got whiskey and ginger ale, which we're in Michigan, so that means Verner's.
That's a medicine for all. Verner's
Right.
is a medicine.
That's like the Detroit Tussin.
Multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Clean your counters with it.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, and then the citrus is your choice, and that's it. So that's why it's a cocktail I make, because it's whiskey and pop.
Simple. Right. Yeah,
Tastes
simple.
good.
Very simple. Yeah, that's pretty
It
good.
really does.
No, I had to cut up that orange, though, too.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know why you said this is
Two cuts.
half-assed. I mean, this is clearly full-assed.
Yeah.
Don't cut yourself down a butt cheek, my friend.
What's up with the beer? What kind of beer? What you got going on there?
It's a Founders All Day IPA, Session Ale.
All day. Not just like
okay.
from
that
noon
local?
to 3.
That's local.
Yeah, Founders is super local. It's one of the biggest Michigan. I guess Bell's would be the biggest, but
yeah.
it's out of Grand Rapids.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite breweries, but they did get in that trouble with the racist corporate culture shit or
Uh-oh.
whatever.
Yeah.
So that was a little rough, but it's one of those things where I say, yeah, that's fucked up, and you shouldn't do that.
And crack
Yeah.
another one.
Right.
Crack another one. Shit's delicious.
You know,
Yeah.
you can't do that. That's rude.
Yeah.
Hand me that all day IPA, please.
I'm
Yeah.
going to dispose of all of this in my belly. Well, me and K-Deezy, we went the opposite of local. You're rocking a little Mexicano tonight, ain't you?
Yeah. I got my highball, but I got my little Modelo Chelada with the picante in it, so it's got a little more of like a spice to it.
Muy
I like it better than
caliente.
yep.
Chelada, that is clam juice, right?
Yeah.
juice.
Got a little tomato in there, you know. Conte gives a nice little hint to it, so.
I went to the opposite side of the world, and I'm going Guinness because 'tis the season. Merry hallowed season to everyone. It's the time for candy, costumes, horror movies, and hoodies, and put away all them light beers and go for a nice dark stout. That's why I hit this Guinness. It's a cool, crisp day. Got my hoodie on. I'm ready for them dark beers.
You remember the first beer you ever drank?
The first thing I ever drank, I think, in my life, bro, was like snuck out of the house at like 5 in the morning, you know, young as hell, drinking Mike's Hard Lemonades. Got drunk off them bitches,
I would have been
young as hell.
My first shit wouldn't have been beer. I was in prime malt liquor territory, so probably I don't know. It'd been either Old E or St. Ives.
Colt 45 double malt. That's hard.
I don't know if it was my first beer, but I know when I was around 15 or whatever, my dad got a can vending machine. So it was just loaded with beer. And for some reason, he got like a deal on Labatt Blue. So we just had cases and cases of Labatt Blue in my basement. Dude, that year I was fucked up and Canadian.
Yeah, I was about to say, that
I was
you
like-
Canadian drinking
I
all
was
that beer.
drunk as fuck. Just,
I was
What's
like,
all this about?
I was like
What's
7
all this
years
about?
old. What's this about? I was like 7 years old, and I took a drink of my uncle's Milwaukee Best that he had in the fridge. It was like half
Milwaukee.
It was like the red one. I don't know, and I drank, and it was so bad, dude. And I didn't even,
Yeah, the beast.
I didn't even think about drinking again until I was like 16.
See, not one person here named like a good drink.
Right,
Everybody's
right.
It was
fucking
bad.
garbage.
Mike's Hard Lemonade. Like, what?
Well, I mean,
Oh,
I grew
man.
up in like a Bud Light,
A wine
Budweiser
cooler.
household, so I'm surprised mine was even as fancy as Labatt Blue. Like,
Yeah.
Before we get into it, I had a podcast I want to recommend. It's a big supporter of the show, David Breakspear, our friend from across the pond. He's a writer and researcher at nationalcrimesyndicate.com. He's got a new episode out of his podcast, What Can Be, where he interviews a guy, DJ Vodka, who wrote the book Green Wall. The guy's a former CO, and it's a book about a place where he worked where they had a CO gang that was legit like torturing prisoners and throwing up gang signs to each other and shit like that.
Okay.
And David Breakspear is big into prison reform. And it's a real cool podcast because David Breakspear has spent decades in prison, and this guy has been a CO, but they're both working together on prison reform. So it's really cool to hear both sides.
Oh, yeah. That's
Hell
dope.
yeah.
ebony and ivory.
Yeah.
And then he's also on a podcast once a week, Wise Guys Hideaway. So it's with Boston Rob and Ian, David Breakspear. So if you're listening to this shit, you're already into criminals and gangsters and stuff. So check it out. It's a real good podcast. As always, before we get started, we got to make sure we thank Sixfoe Burt for letting us use this song in the intro. You can follow him on Instagram, subscribe to his YouTube, and then also a friend of the show, Cancer, who does the song in the mid-roll Blood. You can go to his Instagram at Eyes Bleed Defiance. He's got his photography, his graphic art, and you can see our logo there. He did our logo too. So go check them out. If you have a hard time finding either of them, you can go to our website, badguypodcast.com, and we have all the links on the website. You can find them and click through them there. So the bad guy we're covering today is Lester Ben Binion.
This ain't negotiation time. This is Scarface, final scene, fucking bazookas under each arm. Say hello to my little friend.
Lester Ben Binion.
Okay.
I think we got a boy named Sue situation. His name was Lester, so he had to become tough.
AKA
Lester Ben
Benny,
Binion, I don't
the
think
cow.
that-
Oh, see,
name.
AKA Benny. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
Benny.
immediately go by Ben.
Should've
Drop
been
the
one
Lester.
He just
AKA.
sounds like a mobster. Like Benny. That's just a mobster name.
But-
Like just an old.
I will say his other AKA, you gotta have some cojones to just be called the
Cowboy.
I feel like he
Yeah,
should have put them
cowboy.
together.
He's an outlaw.
He should have just been AKA Benny the Cowboy.
Yeah, Benny the Cowboy. He's an outlaw.
Sounds
That's all I
real-
think. That's
yeah.
what I think so far. So we're gonna see what this guy's
Might be
about.
what I call him. throughout.
Yeah.
Benny,
Benny the Cowboy.
This is drunk people that did a little bit of research. So
Mhm.
Benny the Cowboy it is.
Yeah.
Whatever. He did go by Benny Binion, so that's why we calling him.
It's a good call.
Benny was born November 20th, 1904 in Pilot Grove, Texas, which apparently was so small it's not even a city no more.
It was just their house. They just claimed it was a town.
They had 10 houses in the whole town.
One day they're going to get them a corner.
Yep.
One day they're gonna give him a corner.
We went to this ballpark in Dayton one time. The ballpark was 5 years older than the street that it was on.
Whoa.
That's some country shit, man.
Yeah.
He was so sickly as a kid that his parents didn't send him to school. And at a young age, he would go on the road with his father, who was a traveling horse trader.
Damn. See, they're like, you know what? We're not even gonna send you to school. You're too fucking little.
He was a big time horse.
They're selling
trader,
it for the
looks like.
Kentucky Derby.
This is an example of a traveling stock show. The time you didn't have the internet and shit like that, or big stores. So you'd have these big shows where all these farmers and cowboys would get together to look for horses and cows.
It's like a flea market.
Yeah.
That's
Look
what
at
they
him,
had
yeah,
to do
flea
back
market
in
of horses.
Show up and show
No
your shit.
TV, no internet. Let's just look at some cows.
Yeah, let's look at some cows and some horses.
I've seen comparisons where they said it was kind of like a used car salesman at the time. Because like sometimes they have horses that were a little lame. And they would take a pebble and stick it in the horse's ear and march it out there so it look a little more lively.
Whoa.
People bid on it and they get it and it's really just a slow horse but had a pebble in its ear. Even before used car salesman was a thing, people were out there shady ripping people
I'm
off.
just imagining that somebody like walks up to the horse, checks it out. All of a sudden, this guy comes out with like a loose tie, like, "Hey, buddy, I see you checking out. Come on, low miles."
Yeah. Low miles.
Low miles.
Yep. Low
He's
miles.
just smacking. He's just smacking the horse. Check out the undercarriage. It's really nice.
We've got 300 yards on this horse, guys.
We just got the hooves rotated.
It's all dirt road miles.
Yeah, it's
All dirt road miles.
Despite no formal education, he became a skilled horse trader, and he learned the ins and outs of gambling by watching traders and cowboys in their downtime at campgrounds and county fairs.
Entrepreneur, no education, just jumped right into horse trading. Learned how to gamble real good. There you
So-
go.
You don't need education when you go to the school of hard hooves.
Yeah.
Oh, did the town even have a
Hard
school? of
hooves.
it?
By the time he was 18 years old, Prohibition was in full swing. Benny moved to El Paso and began a bootlegging operation smuggling liquor over the border. So the same thing we still do in El Paso today, except now
Yeah.
now it's the cartels and it's cocaine and heroin, and they'll chop your head
Yeah.
off.
It was the booze war. That's what did it.
I wonder, did he use a horse in transporting? Most likely, right?
Well, Texas,
around that
1920s,
time.
they had some cars, but they were few and far between. So I'll imagine some probably horse
action,
carts.
Yeah.
Horseback with fucking lanterns through the night.
After a year, he moved his bootlegging operation to Dallas, which at the time was a growing city. He ended up doing time twice on small bootlegging charges. So even though he didn't have a formal education, he did a couple bids young. So that was his criminal education. He grew up in crap games, go to prison a couple times. Bam, that's like an associate's in criminology.
Yeah, he's probably
Yeah.
a smart
Shit.
kid. I mean,
Never know.
He probably can't spell criminology, but
Yeah.
he can sure as hell do
I
it.
don't think I could spell criminology.
But he could set up a dice game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the alphabet, but I sure know these numbers.
In Dallas, in addition to his bootlegging, he started a policy racket, which would take bets as low as a penny. And it became quickly the more profitable of the two. I mean, you guys know what a policy racket is?
Policy racket.
The numbers? You guys ever heard the numbers game?
You have to school me on that one because I
Yeah,
don't have no idea.
That's like what Bumpy Johnson, if you ever see the movie Hoodlum, in a lot of the real poor neighborhoods, it was kind of like a local lottery where
Okay.
everybody, you could bet a penny or a couple nickels, and they would do it two ways. Policy was where they would actually have a wheel that they would turn and draw numbers. Numbers was where you would base it off like the last three digits of a stock exchange or off of a betting slip or something, so that it was out in the news, so there was no room for discrepancy.
Okay.
But it's the same concept. It's basically just like
So it's old school lottery,
right.
pretty much.
But,
okay.
but
yeah.
neighborhood lottery. You're
Yeah,
betting
it's
within,
neighborhood
you're
lottery,
betting within
yep.
your people.
That's
and
even
not-
better.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's
it was-
not state funded, so there ain't no taxes and shit.
Yeah.
So
just
it
a
was
neighborhood
illegal
thing.
what he was doing, right? Correct.
Yes.
I mean, but less illegal than
Right.
the transport.
Right.
Well, it's illegal
Right.
because, like I said, there's no tax on it. That's what makes shit illegal.
Right,
when the,
right.
When the state's like,
When
"No,
the
you
government
guys
or the
gotta
state
give us
can't
the-"
tax, it's
Yeah.
I'm sure in
illegal,
1924
exactly.
it took a long, or around that time it took a lot longer for them to catch on and still
Yeah.
find you right.
Have
right
you been
away.
getting our telegrams?
This isn't like the times where you could do a bank robbery and ride over the hill. Once you get out of sight, you just got away with it.
Yeah.
People legit used to run from the cops by moving to a next county. They're just going, now my name is Fred Jones. And they'd be like, all right, well, Fred Jones, you need a job or something?
Grow a mustache, shave it back out.
Move
What?
50 miles away, dude. You're just at another fucking sound.
Well,
Like,
what's great is like when you read about it, is all the way into like the 1960s and shit, where cops finally said like, hey, you know what? Even when they go into the next state, let's still try to track them. Like all the way into the 60s, it was still you go into the next state, you're free.
1920s. Gotta love the times.
30s, no.
Oh, we're in the
So,
30s?
no, we're still in the 20s. We're here for a
Okay.
minute. I'll get you some dates.
Okay,
We're still in the 20s.
He had a busy 20s.
If only we knew numbers like Benny Binion.
Right.
So he took all his money from the policy. This policy racket was his biggest racket. Then his bootlegging money. And he set up a network of no-limit dice games through like Dallas hotels. Sometimes he'd rent out like whole floors. This attracted a lot of high-end clientels. So he had the people that wanted to buy a penny. He would take their bet on the policy. People that wanted to bet, he had no-limit dice games. However much you want to spend, you can come to the hotel and bet there.
He was like the father and sons of betting. No bet's too big.
Yeah,
no
I was gonna
bet's
say
too
it. I was
small.
gonna say a penny back in this time was probably like betting $50 on something. Like
Probably
This is
a
old school,
probably a
right?
dollar or two, probably.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was like $1 or $2. You know, it's like
Yeah,
the same like
right.
as if you're playing the lottery.
yeah,
And then everybody's doing it though, so that's dollar. You know what? You guys are familiar with how counting works.
bill.
Them jackpots were probably like $2.75, $2, probably like
Right.
$3.
Now, Benny was said to be likable, but he ran business with an iron fist. When one of his number runners was caught messing with the count, he stabbed his eye out with a pencil, and then
Leaded his ass, boy.
You have to do that the first time.
Right.
You have
Leaded his
He
ass.
fucking
up.
Heath Ledger jokered him.
Yeah.
seen End of Watch. We're dude yesterday.
Right. Yeah. Stab
You
that
see-
motherfucker with a pencil.
want to see a magic trick?
Or as the guy from John Wick would say, with a fucking pencil.
In another incident, when his guys caught a man that had robbed his dice games, he ordered them to shoot him in the guts and bury him alive.
Gut him alive.
I mean, you're a young kid. You're out here making a lot of money. You're already doing all this other illegal shit. You might as well state your name. You know, make
I mean,
make a
Make a name
point.
for
Make
yourself.
a point. Yeah,
Yeah.
you take from me.
Make a
you're gonna
name
get
for
stabbed in the
yourself.
eye.
well, I mean, it had to work because I mean, he did all this shit,
Oh, it works.
ran this giant thing, and we have 2 examples of what he did. Like, yeah, because after you do that, no, everybody's like, I'm cool. I'm cool.
Cool.
Right?
Oh, hey.
Someone robs you,
Yeah.
you have to set one example. Yeah, we didn't just kill him.
Hey.
We shot him in the guts and buried him alive.
Especially
You wanna
back
do that?
then, like you said, like there's no internet, there's none of that. You know what I'm saying? No social media, so it's like it's all word to mouth, and that's the best publicity. If I tell one of you guys,
If they come 3
that guy who ran
counties
off on
over,
Benny's dice game just got stabbed in the no. Then
you
we're
come
not-
3 counties over horseback, and you tell me who Benny is,
you're fucked.
you're getting your name out there right now.
Yeah.
Well, and we cover it a lot in the show. Like when you're in that world, the mafia world, you have to be tough in order to run that shit. Like you have to. The one guy got assassinated just because he said, "Hey, let's try not killing as many people," and they said, "Oh,
Well,
that's
now we
that
gotta
weak
kill
ass."
this guy.
Yeah, they're like, "That's that weak ass bitch shit. We're stabbing you."
Well, here's my. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's thousands of criminals out here. 100%. There's people in the justice system right now that aren't, naturally aggressive people or angry people or this or that, but maybe
Right.
had to do something to prove a point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, once you're in that situation,
Right.
that's why they say, prison. We were talking about earlier, prison reform. You send someone to prison,
Good,
they're
Dan?
going to come out a better gangster.
Good dude?
'cause
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, go big or go home in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go,
everything's
go
big.
home.
I also believe you
outlaw.
do not mess with Texas.
Definitely don't mess with Benny the Cowboy.
Eventually, Benny ended up bringing enough money, he was able to pay off local sheriffs and judges, many of whom would frequent his gambling establishments.
Yeah, grease them pockets.
So now what he's doing is legal.
Right.
right. Kinda.
In his area, it's what's legal is what
Kinda.
they say is legal.
Mm-hmm.
Legal is whatever the cops won't bust
There
you
you go.
for.
To appease the conservative Christian parts of the community, because it's Texas, which is Wild West, but it's still,
Bible Belt.
yeah. So in addition to his payoffs, Benny would have to agree to controlled raids. The sheriffs would give advance notice when a raid would occur. They'd call their normal clientele and tell them they were closed for the day, but they bring in their own guys to gamble, so that they would come in and do the raid, and then they'd pay a fine per head for everybody in there gambling, and then an extra fine on the house. And in return, the police wouldn't smash up the equipment.
Okay.
So nobody had to spend more than a day in a jail. They wouldn't break up the equipment, and they'd be back up and running.
See, that's the smoothest because that's just bribing out front in front of everyone. Like, hey, we'll pay these fines. We'll just pay you guys money.
I mean, it takes money
you
to make
guys
money.
did
right?
your job, and the world keeps us spinning.
And
Like,
we're just
that's
gonna keep
all
on
it is.
doing what we're doing. Yeah.
They're
Fuck
straight
yeah.
up just buying off the cops in front of everyone.
And then this is how shit like this goes south because everybody's happy, and then eventually somebody wants more, or
Right,
isn't
yeah,
happy
yeah.
no more, and the Fed say, you know what?
Well,
Fuck it.
greedy.
all it
Let's do
is,
this.
Yeah.
I'm a caller right now. The state just always wants their cut. So I bet you eventually he starts making more money and doesn't start paying them off as much as they'd like to be paid off.
There you go.
Benny at his peak in the 1920s was paying as much as $600 a year in payoffs. Or he was paying as much as $600,000 a year in payoffs.
That's a
Whoa,
big
whoa,
switch.
damn.
Whoa, giant switch. Look,
600 grand in
you had-
payoffs.
It shows how
man?
much I know. You
In
said
the
600.
1920s?
I'm like, maybe that makes sense. 600 bucks.
Yeah, when
That's
you
a-
said
is that a
600,
lot in a
like,
year?
yeah, damn, if a penny's like $1, 600, that's
Yeah,
600,000. Like,
Holy shit! Like
Man.
600 grand. Like this is when currency was just made. Like
I tell you right now,
1920. Like
you
shit.
better keep track of them zeros better, or Benny's gonna take your fucking eye out.
Benny's
That's a
gonna
big-
take your fucking.
That's a big fucking leap there.
It is 600,000,
shit.
600 grand.
600 grand a year.
grand
In the
in
20s.
1920.
So
like,
you
that's
were
$1 million.
Because I don't know if you will know, but how much is that?
I
in
didn't look
today's-
it up.
You
I
son
do it half
of a
the time.
bitch.
You
Half the
bastard.
time I do.
You know we
You
have
bastard.
inflation queries, man.
I proofread it too, and still didn't put that fucking in there.
Man,
Usually
you
get
gotta
those.
be on these numbers, man. Get your Benny up.
Benny would let independent operators run games in his area for a 25% cut off the top.
Yep, just take his cut. So far, I like this guy. Good business strategy.
Just chilling.
I mean, he really is the Texas. All the shit's straight out of the mob handbook, but he's just
He's doing it in Texas.
he's just a little illiterate Texas boy.
Yeah.
Just fuck it.
Yeah, well, I wonder was his dad into all this shit, or was his dad just trading horses and then like one thing led to another? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
where did his criminal life would influence that? Because you were just trading horses.
Well,
Now you're
maybe.
just a mobster.
He probably looked
right.
up and he was like, well, maybe I could fucking, it just happens, whatever, I
Was
guess,
it?
right?
He was just plotting the whole
Whatever.
time. You thought he was staring at cows. He was plotting in his head. Just wait. He had all this move.
It could have been one of these things where his dad, when you grow up in that lifestyle, it's like growing up in a bar. It's not necessarily a criminal world, but it's not the brightest future. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So when you're traveling, just like traveling with the circus or a carnival or something, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? When you're doing this traveling road show and you're stopping at these, these shows and these county fairs and stuff like that, like there's probably some seedy underbelly, even if he's not a straight up criminal.
He probably picked up on it. He for sure picked up on it somewhere within them shows or something.
Like I said,
on that business, yeah.
It's like growing up the kid, you're going to work with mom every day and she works at the bar. So you spend all day every day at the bar. Like it's not criminal, but
Well, like you said, he went to Dallas and he caught him a case. That's like going to college. So, because it seemed like after he went to Dallas, after he got busted, that's when he started his real enterprising. That's when he really got his shit together.
Yeah.
But at this time, we haven't really said it, but at this time, he's like running his own like he has his own crew. He's like the head of an organization, kind of.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They he's very much referred to as a mob boss. He's obviously not a
I was
mafia
about to say
boss.
he's a
'cause
boss. He's a boss.
There's a
cowboy.
difference between the mafia and a mobster. It's the same. It's the way. It's
He's a
OC.
cowboy.
Well, I believe he would be the Baron. He wouldn't even be the cowboy. He would be
The Baron.
Yeah.
Well,
I like that name for him, the Baron.
All right, we're rewriting history.
Yeah,
He's now
right.
Benny.
Yep,
See,
yep.
and Benny the Baron even goes smoother.
Yep.
God damn, Benny, get your
Benny
shit
the
together.
Baron.
Spoiler alert, at one point they will say, most of the people that do research say, it was like the mafia with cowboy hats.
That's exactly the vibes I was getting off it too, as you were telling me. I'm doing the same shit the mafia does, just in cowboy.
Like I
hats.
said, though,
We're in Texas.
Benny is a mobster name.
Yeah.
He was born for this
Just
shit.
this one's all American,
yeah,
boy.
Yeah, he's just all American. Horse trading, all that.
He married a woman named Teddy Jane, and they went on to have 5 children, 2 boys and 3 girls. What's weird is they had a boy named Ted, but they didn't have a boy named Benny.
Whoa.
So they
Right,
named-
what?
Run that back.
Where the fuck is Benny Jr.?
No way.
Where the
So
fuck
they-
is Benny
yeah,
Jr.
they named the
at?
boy after the wife.
Yeah.
Teddy.
Yeah, because
Hell
it
no.
was Betty and Teddy Jane, and they had 2 sons, Jack and Ted. So
Wow.
that doesn't seem very Texas. That seems very very
Well,
progressive.
Never name your kid Teddy, guys.
Was it? I
Just
don't know, because
put that
Ted
out
is a cowboy. There are cowboys
Teddy
named
Roosevelt.
Ted. And,
Cowgirl.
I mean, he might just not like his name. I mean, I probably wouldn't name my kid after me.
In 1931, Benny Binion was convicted of his first murder. He shot and killed another bootlegger named Frank Bolden.
So
Fortunately,
wait, like, how old is he now?
1931. He was born in 1904, so that'd be
He's 27.
27.
27, yep.
Yeah.
27.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, kind of young.
Looks
when
like
he got his
Sixfoe
first-
Burt's going to be
Yeah.
working for Benny before you.
Yeah.
I am a mathematician.
Good math, good math.
I didn't
Right.
go to school though.
That was
Shout out to
quick.
the horse
You were on
trade.
it.
and the-
Yeah, shout out to the
Scales.
horse. I had to count the horses. So
About to be
Pretty
6'4"
good with
Benny.
I play a lot of darts in cornhole, so that's I think how I'm good at.
6'4" Ben, that's your new name.
There we go. It's already actually a 6'4" band. Shout out
6'4"
6'4"
Ben.
band.
Supposedly, in this murder, Frank Bolden attacked Benny with a knife in his backyard. Benny fell off his seat.
He was like, where the fuck is my
Seat on-
pencil?
Yeah.
We're seating
And then-
on this bitch.
And then he came up shooting. That's when they started calling him the cowboy because they said they shot him cowboy style, which I think that just means, I don't know, like shoulder rolling and shit.
He left it at his hip. He pulled it and left it right
Yeah.
here. That's what that means.
He just called him
Yeah, that was
Pilgrim
nice.
as he was shooting him.
The town wasn't big enough for the two of them.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
It's because it happened
Probably
at
where
high
that came
noon.
from.
So he was convicted of the murder of Frank Bolden, but Frank Bolden was a black man in 1931 Texas. So Benny received a 2-year suspended sentence for the crime. I don't know if you guys are familiar with suspended sentence, but that means you don't go to jail for it. That means like we're giving you 2 years, but we're gonna let you slide on it.
I mean, all races aside, he was being attacked with a knife in his own backyard, wasn't he?
Right? I mean,
So,
that's
I
yeah,
mean,
I mean,
shit.
Self-defense.
I mean, I don't know how it worked
Exactly.
back then, or it's unfortunate that you take a life. I think
right. Well, I mean, it's not like they ain't already burying people alive in the desert.
he might have
I
shot
mean,
the guy
right.
like
Right.
7 times. Or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if the guy's if this guy's a criminal and he's in your backyard, he
Yeah.
probably was working with you or something to where he's back there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Knew what he was getting into.
Well, and I mean, he did it cowboy style.
Right.
Come on.
He was indicted for his second murder in 1936 when he shot a rival numbers operator named Ben Frieden 10 times.
Ah, see, that wasn't cowboy style. That's when you get busted.
He rode up on a horseback with a Tommy gun and shot his ass.
I mean, why? The guns back then only held like 3 shots. So what business did he have
He
shooting
had
this
a
guy 10
2-2.
times?
He had a 2-2 revolver and
He
shot.
stopped and reloaded.
He's the single shot. He stopped and reloaded.
I'm guessing.
He stuffed the gunpowder down in the barrel. Fucking.
I'm guessing I do a lot of these podcasts. 1936. I'm guessing it's 1911.
So he had
That
10
was
shots
kinda-
to give him.
That was
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
the fucking. That was the go-to automatic
Oh, there you
handgun
go.
of the time.
He stuffed his
Okay.
musket.
That was when they was first
10
going.
times and
They were
shot
sliding
him.
from revolvers into a. 1911 won 2 world wars. It was great technology at that time.
I
You know,
gotta
10
get my
shots
history.
versus your revolver and shit.
Right.
Or he just had 2 guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cowboy, style.
Never
Right.
Cowboy style.
Yeah.
Afterwards, Benny shot himself in the arm and turned himself into police.
The indictment was dismissed on grounds of
Wait,
self-defense.
oh,
He shot himself
okay.
in the arm.
Well, yeah, he went the self-defense route.
Okay.
Hey, I mean, if it worked once.
So they didn't do the whole like. That's crazy. Forensics must have been way different. I'm sorry.
No cameras.
That's
I
what
I
he-
mean, fuck
shit,
cameras, bro.
you know what I'm
Like the
saying?
angle of the shot, the impact. Like you could tell you got shot up close or from a distance. Like
He was shot. He was
he
shot.
was just shot. That's all that
Self-defense.
counts. Yep. He was
Yeah.
shot.
Hey, no matter what,
self-defense.
you shot a motherfucker 10 times. Like, I think after like 8, like, self-defense is over. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
we'll give you 6 shots of self-defense. After that, you're just having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and they said the numbers game was the one thing that Benny was always stingy about. Like, he'd let you work independently if you want to put up, like, gambling dens and stuff, but he didn't put up with anybody else.
Fucking
Doing
with
the
that number
numbers.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of jumped over, but he shot that guy. The first guy was bootlegging,
hmm
so fuck him. Then the second guy was trying to take over the numbers racket, so he shot him.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're justifying? Are you justifying the 10 shots now?
Minus, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Murders.
They're justified.
Hey,
Well, look,
they call that their a corporate takeover.
well, I mean, this is standard gangster shit. I mean,
Yeah.
look, on this show, I mean, we're talking about all criminals here. I
Right.
mean, what do you got to do?
Yeah, I hear you.
Look, if you said nobody can come in the numbers game, this motherfucker's coming in the numbers game.
Yeah, shoot him.
You know?
Gotta-
You know how much
Yeah,
I-
you gotta shoot his
Fuck,
ass.
kill him.
You know how much I
2-2
pay in
revolver.
retainers to the goddamn sheriff? You're getting shot, motherfucker. I pay $600,000 a fucking year. You're gonna die.
Right. Shit.
I bet you that's what he said to him too.
By the early 1940s, he ran all of Dallas gambling, and he decided to move to Fort Worth. Shortly after he moved to Fort Worth, on November 22nd, 1944, Fort Worth policy boss Louis Tinsdale was shot with a shotgun in his driveway. It actually wasn't a fatal shot, but he was a hemophiliac, and he died 4 days later. And
He was a what?
Hemophiliac means you don't stop bleeding.
Yeah,
his
like
blood
your
was
shit
thin
don't
or
clot up.
something?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like real thin blood.
So he could saved himself 10 more bullets.
That was 2 days
Yeah,
after his
no need.
birthday too. You said he was.
you
born
punch him in the
November
nose,
20th.
you got to worry about murdering that dude
Oh, yeah?
because shit.
But I love this too. It's
Yeah, I did.
That's my son's birthday, November 22nd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's great. He fucking he ran all of Dallas. He owns that motherfucker's like, you know what? Thinking about franchising. I'm gonna go out over here.
Catch my third body.
You know, take
Yeah.
this guy out the
Take
game,
some-
take over his shit. Now he's
Kill 3
expanding.
people, get in the nosebleed and die. Like shit.
Not to mention all the.
So is that
murders
it about
he
him?
was
Okay,
caught.
yeah. I was about to say you got more pages.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
One guy that refused to back down to Benny was a guy named Herbert Noble. He survived 8 attempts on his life over a 5-year period. Now, it was at least 8 attempts. I've heard numbers as big as 14.
Yeah,
Like,
so he thinks he's just invincible.
What they
So
called
how
him?
mu-
They called
like-
him the cat because they said he had 9 lives. and
I was
shit.
gonna say like yeah. How many years like span was that?
Over a 5-year span.
5 years, and they tried to kill him what
8 to 14
8
times.
to 14 times.
They really just call him the cat because by that point he was
Yeah,
just
the
real
cat.
jumpy all the time.
Shit.
Somebody jumps around, he's like, "Meow." What?
So over the like I'm not gonna do the rundown of all of them, but like some of the highlights. One time he got his right ear shot off. And then
Damn.
Another time he got away, but he got shot in the hip. And then when he was in the hospital, he almost got shot by a sniper shot through the window in the hospital.
Damn. They
Whoa.
really. And what? He ran a policy or something. What was his deal?
Okay, he ran a dice game, and what I read was that Benny tried to yank his percentage from 25 to 40, and he said fuck it, he didn't want to do it, and they went to war over it. Some other people say they just tried to move in. You know, sometimes the 2 biggest kid on the block just fight. You know.
Well, it sounds at this point Benny's kind of being a dick. He's just taking other shit
Yeah,
over.
right.
Like he's
Yeah,
just
he moved to Fort Worth and probably
Yeah.
moved into this guy's territory.
Yeah.
call.
Fuck it, I'm taking it over.
Should call Benny the cat. He's just walking around pissing on shit. Psst, mine. Psst,
Yeah.
this is mine.
One time, one of the failed Herbert Noble attempts, his wife got in his car instead of him, and it was rigged. And when she started it, the car blew up,
She gone.
Damn.
and his wife died in the
She gone.
explosion.
See, this is crazy because this is 100% mob shit. This sounds like a mob story, but these are just
Oh, that's a mob
Texas
hit.
dudes,
Look at
like,
the
it's
pictures.
not
That's
Look
a
at
mob
the
hit.
car. It
Well, yeah,
looks
what-
like
hat dude's wearing.
an Indy car. It looks like
That's Herbert Noble creeping in the woods like Bigfoot for some reason. I don't know. I
Top
can't
two
explain that
model.
picture to you, but
Yeah.
that's
a
him.
creeping in the woods.
For
He
real.
just buried a body, you know, just casual picture.
Shoot
Love
the beef
it.
jerky
Yeah.
commercial.
it's a picture of him in his natural habitat.
So after his wife bombing, he kind of went pretty crazy. He was pretty paranoid. At one point, he loaded his property with chihuahuas and peacocks.
He hated chihuahuas.
Because they're loud, and he thought they would protect. They'd
Ah.
alert him to
Yeah.
anything.
Hey,
I mean, I guess, yeah. If you're just wanting noisemakers.
He had
Chihuahuas
geese and
peacocks.
chihuahuas. Like,
That's
what?
that's great. He had so many attempts on his life, but after his wife got killed, then he's on edge.
So,
Yeah.
Like
you
now
think-
he's a little paranoid.
You think in this guy's position, he should have just had like more friends, more loyal, more people in his crew, or that would have probably been worse for him knowing
He
that there
just got a pack of chihuahuas. That's
Yeah.
his crew.
was. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to have a human to talk to? Maybe
Yeah.
sometimes, like.
Well,
You
they
know.
did have.
You got 22 little ass dogs out there.
Shit, he probably didn't trust anyone.
He did kill one of. I didn't write the guy's name down, but he killed Benny Binion's right hand man, like his top
Okay.
guy.
Okay.
So
Damn,
it's not
okay.
like he was completely unscathed. It was back and forth. He probably thought until his wife got killed, he thought he was like badass. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker can't get me and shit.
Fuck the
Yeah.
19
And then
attempts against me getting murdered.
He is kind of badass.
My wife died. Yeah, I'm good.
He eventually got killed when explosive near his mailbox went off while he's picking up his mail. It killed him instantly. They could only find the top half of his body.
Damn.
That seems crazy to me, man. Because she blew up in the car right in front of their house. She started the car and blew up, right? And
Yeah.
then he's coming outside of the mailbox not long after. It doesn't matter how long after. I mean, you should have moved. Did he move? Did he? You don't know.
Benny was typically able to use his legal and political connections to keep out rival gangsters. But in 1946, the Dallas elections, Binion's sheriff was voted out, and he lost most of his political pull. And mobsters from Chicago outfit started moving into Dallas.
So this is the beginning of the end here,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure.
That's what I feel. Chicago mobsters moving in.
Benny decided he literally packed $1 million in a bag, took 2 of his boys with Tommy guns, got in his Cadillac, and drove to Las Vegas, and then sent his family back there to follow him.
And that's when he started the Binion's Casino.
Yeah.
Over the next couple years, he had several failed casino investments. Then in 1951, he bought the El Dorado Club and the Apache Hotel and opened them as the Binion's Horseshoe Casino.
Oh, straight up, I was just joking. You really did open the Binion's Casino?
the
Dude, I've
the
been.
Binion's
Hey,
Casino.
straight up, I was in Vegas for like a week doing a pool tournament and shit. Dude, Binion's was the best spot to be. They had like the ribs for $10 or whatever, like the cheapest, fattest
So this
fucking
guy's
meal,
name
the
is
best
still out
shit.
here.
As a matter of fact, their big thing, they have a stack of $1 million that you get to pose in front of, and you get to take a little picture.
You could take a buck. You
Yep.
could take one.
Yeah, you get-
Me and other
It's in a glass
podcast
box, yeah.
regular Lorraine McLean, we both got pictures at Binion's in front of the $1 million.
Oh, that's dope.
yeah, that
Get
is
there.
sweet.
All right, we're going to take a real quick smoke break. We'll refill our drinks, and we'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, my words are concrete and solid as the truncated snare on a drum beat. Solid as the sound of gun claps in the cross streets. We puffin' on the smoke of genocide and we all chief. More solid than Nostradamus' ominous forecast. I'm spitting in all caps, you listening all fast. I'm talking about airstrikes, ranks, mines, missiles, tanks, kids and bandanas and masks, waving pistols and max. We'll overthrow the government one day. Matter of fact, grab a gun, we'll see you next Sunday. I'm the antithesis of conformity. I can weather the storm, storm like the beach in Normandy. I'ma ring the alarm like my blood is thicker than boat rope, thicker than a brick. Put the game in a chokehold, thicker than the water under refugees' hope floats. I'm thicker than the cake in the Dominicans' coke notes. Yeah, my soul is darker than warfare and heavy as the chassis on a 62 Corvair. Slipping through the cracks, you know the system ain't all fair. I had to steal a 50 just to get me some bus fare. I'm out of here.
Thanks for listening. Just real quick, want to ask you to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app. Go to Apple iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, and leave us a review, and we'll read it on the show. If you have any questions, comments, or a guy that you would recommend we cover, you can email us at sayhellotothabadguypodcast@gmail.com. We also want to thank Sixfoe Sueno for letting us use his music in the intro. You can subscribe to him on YouTube, and also a friend of the show, Cancer. He's got an art, photography, and graphic design page at Eyes Bleed Defiance on Instagram. You can see a lot of his work, including our cover art, which he designed. And he also performed the mid-show song, Blood, from his album, Grenades, Pistols, and Rape Whistles. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back. So I guess we went with the highball earlier, so we'll go whiskey theme all day. But we always go local as much as possible. It's Traverse City Whiskey Company, American Cherry Edition.
For those that aren't
Traverse
familiar,
City Whiskey
Traverse
Company, huh?
City is known for
Yep.
cherries. They got the Cherry Festival every year and shit. Cherries, Traverse City's jam.
Yeah, it's like the national capital or something.
I'm honestly
Cherries is
honored.
Traverse City.
I'm glad we're drinking this. That's dope.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Would you taste it?
Yeah.
took
What
a
is
little
it? Traverse
taste, yeah.
City's also known for Torch Lake,
Word?
one of the cleanest lakes in the world. Yep, dude, the
Yeah.
water's beautiful, like Caribbean water. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
crystal
like
clear
that
blue.
light
Yeah, it's real
blue,
nice.
that super.
Shout
like,
out
oh.
Traverse City.
Yeah.
Well, Traverse City
Fuck
is
yeah.
like one of Michigan's little. A lot of people don't know this, but Michael Moore, he hosts a big film festival in Traverse City every year. They're known for that. Traverse City is a nice little.
Traverse
and
City's the shit.
hot
man.
air balloons. That's a big thing. They do like a little festival about hot air balloons too. Like
Yeah.
it's got its shit going on.
They stay busy out
Could
here.
you
Yeah.
imagine that though? Would you guys ever go in a fucking hot air balloon?
Yes.
I would, but I'd
Like in a
have.
basket with a giant
I'd-
balloon above you
see,
with fire.
I'm
I
going
would,
to skydive.
But asterisks, yeah.
Going to.
You're gonna do the
I would
skydiving?
need the parachute
crazy
to go in a
as
hot
fuck.
air balloon. I would need the parachute just to have an out. Because I mean, you're just up there with the winds.
If my life depends on a fucking sandbag in a basket, no, fuck that.
Traverse City.
Traverse City.
Go for the whiskey.
Traverse City.
Skip out on the hot air balloon. Fuck the hot air balloon. But the whiskey's cool. Yeah. Just sit on the beach,
Yeah,
bro.
whiskey's
It's
good.
beautiful.
Fuck that.
Get drunk, watch some movies, and go swimming.
All right, so when we left off, Benny Binion set up shop and bought a hotel. And I guess it's now what's like downtown Las Vegas, right? It's not on the
Well,
strip.
This is what Vegas has. You would think downtown, that's the nice area. Vegas, it's the opposite. Downtown used to be the hot spot where Binion's, what was the other one? There's four,
Well, the
because they're all on the
Binions were-
corner of Fremont Street.
Mhm.
But the strip is now the nice part. That's where Caesars, all this other, and then the downtown area is the shitty part. That's where we
That's
no,
the
for
hood.
real. That's where,
That's where the D
Yeah.
hotel
That's the
is.
hood.
no, we went down there and we were seeing homeless people fucking on the sidewalk and shit.
Oh,
and
that's
you go
nice.
down there, and ironically, that's where the D casino is. The D meaning the Detroit casino in Vegas is in that area.
See, I've never
Of
been.
course.
I've never been to Vegas, but that's like Miami. Like people
But-
don't go downtown Miami; they go to
South Beach.
Yeah.
South Beach.
If you're broke, like, or not even broke, but you're not big ball and shit, downtown's where they got the biggest payoffs with the smallest bets and shit. They got Fremont Street is famous. The whole street, it goes for like a couple blocks, is got this big holographic like light up top, like a giant movie screen.
But yeah,
Yeah.
for real, that's exactly what happened. Is he went with no limits on the crap table, so everybody that didn't have as much money would go to the no limit, biggest payouts. He was one of the first casinos to send limousines to transport customers to and from casinos, and he was the first to offer free drinks to players.
Oh, he started this shit.
Yeah, he started all
He
that
started
shit.
this shit.
At the time when all the other mob-ran casinos were only offering comps to high rollers, he'd offer them to low-level players also. He is quoted on his business philosophy as saying, "Treat the little guy like a big guy. Good food, good whiskey, cheap, and a good gamble."
God damn, I like this
Starting
guy.
to fucking like this guy, dude.
You know what?
yeah, this
Little
guy's
inside
badass.
joke for the listeners. These guys won't really get, but yeah, we're definitely hearing Dave Chappelle at the end of this episode. This
Alright.
is DEFCON 5 all day.
You heard that, listeners? Mm-hmm.
He was also known for his $2 steaks, and they were typically brought from his Montana ranch.
I
Yeah,
fucking
That's
love
one of the
this
biggest
guy.
things.
Dude, like I
$2
said,
go to Binion's,
$2
free drinks
steaks?
and a $2 steak.
dude,
fucking
I'm
get it.
telling you,
Just
for-
spend your money here. You're gonna lose your money gambling. Lose it here.
And they
we'll
come
give
and
you
pick
free
and they come and
drinks.
pick you up. What?
Yeah.
They come and pick us up? Yeah, the first one. They come pick us up. They come pick you up.
Well,
Fucking back news, the first one.
I'm saying the time of Vegas used to be like everywhere would be like $2 say you get all that shit, but nowadays when I went like 5 years ago or whatever, we're talking like $40 buffets and shit. It's expensive. We went to Binion's, dude, for $10. It came out on a baking sheet, like
He
a
probably
big old
took-
slab of ribs.
He probably
and
took good
corn,
care of his
all sorts
employees.
of shit.
Yeah,
I feel like he,
shit,
he
$2
took
steaks.
good care of
Hell
his
yeah,
his
Binion's
people.
is where it's at even today.
Yep.
Fuck
I'm
it.
going to Binions.
Let's go right
I'm
now.
really
Let's
lear-
road
really-
trip.
really
We're going to
learning some
Binion's.
shit.
We're going to Binions. We're out.
Let's go.
He quickly became one of the most profitable casinos in Vegas. In 1953, there was a connected guy named Louis. His name was Louis, and they called him Russian Louis.
Fucking A.
Louis Russian Louis Strauss.
Turns out he wasn't even Russian.
Yeah, right.
It was
Probably not. Like most
He
of
was
them
an
just
Italian
throw you
guy.
off.
He
Just
was
an
random
Italian
fucking
man.
names and shit.
He just really liked vodka.
Yeah. Yeah. Then one day he got the clap from a Russian chick or something. And now they call him
He said,
Russian
"I'm-
Louis.
yeah, right.
Like it's just weird shit, man. Those are the nicknames that stick, is the ones you don't want to.
And that's the STD that sticks. Yes, now your pee-pee burn when you piss.
Russian Louis tried to extort Benny, not knowing that he was friends with the Los Angeles mob boss, who was also a Louis Dragna. So Benny reached out to his Louis Dragna, his mob boy, and a mobster named Jimmy the Weasel Fratiano would later admit...
Oh, that guy's not to be trusted.
The Weasel. Whoa.
He'd later admit to setting up Russian Louis by luring him to a house.
No
under,
surprise. No surprise there.
Him and an associate held him down and strangled him with a piece of rope. The Weasel Frediano, he's a guy we might end up covering someday. He was like a Los Angeles, he's a big Los Angeles gangster.
Imagine getting
Chicago
weaseled over
show.
by a guy named the Weasel.
When you were doing this
goddamn
thing, when
wrong
we're
by
living this
being a
criminal
weasel.
life, and there's guys that's name are like the Weasel or the Rat, it's like...
My homeboy asked me before. He said, "Hey man,
Don't expect too much from him, right?
And my homeboy came over. He said, "Can I bring my buddy with me?" I said, I guess. Who is he? What's his name?" He said, "His name's Shady. Call him Shady." I said, "Yeah, all right, I guess, bro."
Just call him Shady.
I was hoping for not Shady.
Fuck.
Anything else would have been...
It was my brother's house. I said, "Hey, can his buddy Shady come?" He said, "Yeah, he sounds trustworthy. Bring him on."
Right, he
Sounds
sounds
like a good guy.
trustworthy.
What about his boy Snitchy?
Yeah, Snitchy and the Weasel.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'm gonna put my best guy on it. Who? The Weasel.
The Weasel. Fuck.
Fuck. That's not the Hound. That's not the wolf. That's the fucking Weasel.
Hey, my buddy Johnny the Stool Pigeon. He's a real straight shooter.
1953, Benny was charged and convicted of tax evasion.
It's always tax evasion, man. That's how they get him every time. I'm
Out of
telling
everything,
you.
bro.
Tax evasion.
The state, the ultimate mob, just wanting their cut.
Yep.
Oh, he sold a majority of his share of the casino to an oil man named Joe W. Brown to pay his back taxes. He did 4 years in Leavenworth prison, and then when he was released in 1957, his family regained controlling interest. By 1964, they regained full interest in the Horseshoe Hotel.
Damn. And I mean, we passed over it real quick, but 1950s Leavenworth, that's some fucking time. Leavenworth, that place is a pain in
Where's
the
it?
ass.
What is that?
That's a federal prison. That's where you go for doing court
Right, where at?
martials.
Where at?
Leavenworth, that's out there.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's federal maximum security
Yeah.
and shit.
Okay.
So we've covered a bunch of guys, but it's something we'll cover eventually. Tom Silverstein was there. Before they invented Florence Supermax,
Mhm.
Leavenworth was the go-to federal spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where
That's
they put
where
the
they
gangsters,
spent-
gangsters.
And that's where they spent all the military criminals and shit. That's where they throw them. It's just a big, and it's just
Well, and it's guys
it's like Shawshank. It's a pain in the ass prison. That's straight. You're out there in the heat, tarring
Right.
roofs all the time, getting beat
Digging
up,
roofs.
Digging
yeah.
holes.
Dude, they got prisoners who not even gangsters, political prisoners like that.
Right.
Where they put the people Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
before we had the
Yeah.
bay in Cuba. We had Leavenworth.
But yeah, Leavenworth is
He
hard
said
time.
he did 4 years,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, Leavenworth federal prisons. Yeah, that's hard time. One thing that was weird that Joe Brown did was when he took control and interest and Binion went away, he replaced Binion everything with Joe W. Brown's. So you see on the hotel on the left, the one is built Binion's in the 60s and 70s. On the left, you see over top of it, it used to say Binion's Horseshoe.
Joe
It
W.
says
Brown.
Joe W. Brown's.
Well, I mean,
What a prick.
that's sort of dickheaded, but in the same way, hey, I'm floating this motherfucker. I'm paying that. It is kind of my Binion's, Benny's in the clink right now. Fuck it, I'm running this bitch.
That's like getting a new girlfriend and then just taping pictures of your new girlfriend's face over all your old girlfriend's pictures. So you don't got to change all the pictures in the house. You kind of just
tape him over.
if you
Yeah,
peel
you
that
change
back,
outfits
it still says Minions down there somewhere.
It'd be even better if it was just the Binion's sign was still there, or just crossed out and said Joe next to it.
Right. Well, you see, he came back and not only was he fuck that, he was let's throw some lights on this too.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he came out of there, he trumped that shit up.
Yeah,
I was
he
gonna
sure
say
did.
Binion's
that's
real
more
bright,
Vegas,
right up.
Vegas vibe.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
more what it looks like now.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
they also did, you were talking about this earlier, this is the $1 million horseshoe. So it's $1 million in $10,000 bills. That was a real big, Dan said
Yeah.
he got his picture taken in front of it.
But
You
this
see,
is a
even
lot
that-
cooler though, because this is in a horseshoe. Right now, is just sitting on top of a poker table in a glass case. This looks a lot sweeter.
But you see, even on that, he changed it from Binion's to Joe W.
No,
Brown's.
he-
And-
Oh,
Kept
yeah,
it
he
the
did.
same, just changed
Yeah.
the name.
I don't know.
Chuck E.
I don't know
Cheese
what to
just
think
becomes
about
a
it.
squirrel.
Dulled the picture.
Like,
fucking just.
I
Just-
mean, this is one of those things. The businessman in me is like, well, yeah, he's floating it. This is a shit, but so far Benny's my boy. So it's like, fuck you, Joe Brown.
well, these
Get
guys
your
are
name
trying
off
to
this shit,
these guys
man.
are trying to make a name for themselves too. You know what I'm saying? As much as they're making money off the casinos, shit, they're trying to market their name and turn themselves into like
Yeah.
stars. And,
The only Joe Brown I like is Judge Joe Brown.
Yeah, he fucking got in trouble for bossing around that valet guy down in Detroit.
I seen
Floods
that.
or
Yeah, I
something.
seen that. Yeah.
Yelled at a valet.
Do to him. Didn't he like throw something at him? He did something. He assaulted him.
the
quote,
valet.
unquote.
Some kid. He's picking on some kid. So by 1964, after he regained full interest. Now, due to his status as a felon, he couldn't gain a gaming license. So his son Jack operated as the president and licensee. He'd end up being the licensee for 50 years. And his son Ted is the manager. Benny took a position as the
Oh,
director of public
Teddy.
relations.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
I mean, hey.
I mean, fuck it. You can't
Yeah.
get it. It's like, well, fuck it, son. I guess it's in your name now.
Well,
I'll
his
just
son-
be
It's
the
in your name now,
manager.
you go.
Son never fucked him over or nothing. I mean,
Well, it's kind of real. You've seen Casino, right? Like that
Yeah.
was Rothstein's thing, was that he was running the show, but he just couldn't get it. So he's
Never
the
seen it.
director of the, food operations. Okay, we're gonna move him over to customer relations. Like you just give him a position on the staff somewhere and then just
Right.
run the show.
Well, I mean, that's classic move. Like, you can't get, like, that happens in bars and businesses all over the place. Like, you can't
All
get
the
it in
time.
your name. Fuck it. Yeah. Shit. Can't get cable in my name. I owe Comcast money. What the fuck is your social security
I
number?
owed
I need some
Comcast money when I
HBO.
was 9.
Yeah,
My mom
Shit.
used my name.
Man, what?
We need these-
Security number.
yeah. We need these lights back
I was-
on. DTA
I was
ain't
born
accepting
with
my
the
name.
DTE bill. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was born with the DTE, bro.
yeah, I was.
He would wear 10-gallon hats and no tie. He had the buttons on his shirts changed to gold coins. And his favorite coat was a buffalo hide jacket.
Oh, man.
His felony status prevented him from carrying firearms, but he was never without a pistol. And he always kept a sawed-off shotgun either with arm's reach or in his golf cart.
So
guy.
wait, he went to
Son.
Vegas and started wearing a buffalo skin jacket and having a gun and a 10-gallon hat?
Yeah.
Gold coins as buttons as well.
Oh, that's, what is it, the human Twinkie mascot?
So he continued to run the business way he always had. In 1967, a Las Vegas cab driver named Marvin Shoemate planned a kidnap attempt on Ted Binion for a ransom.
Oh, Marvin's got high ambitions for a cab driver.
Right?
Yeah.
So Marvin Shoemate attempted to recruit a local thug, not knowing he had connections to Binion. On December 2nd, 1967, Shoemate was found in the desert with a shotgun wound in the chest and a .357 round to his head.
That's so fucked up. Just a cab driver like, I want to kidnap this guy. Hey, I know him. Fuck me. And then just
Yeah.
gets taken up.
Fuck that.
Like, goddamn.
I mean, you're fucking stupid, bro. Why would you? I mean,
That was a bad plan.
That's
Yeah.
a stupid
Horrible
like,
plan.
You don't just
Did
try to
that go
recruit.
horrible?
Horrible
plan?
execution.
You don't try to recruit
Horrible
anybody
execution.
for some shit like that. You bring your
You start this by, hey, do you know that Binion guy? Yeah, I kind of work for him. All right, next guy. Like,
Right.
You don't immediately start saying your shit.
How'd you like to
Yeah.
kidnap his kid?
Yeah,
man.
like figure out that guy's background a little bit before. Yeah, it turns out I'm best buddies with him.
I really wonder how that went, bro. Just think that guy. He thought he had one. He thought, you know what, we're about to get this
I got
Benny
it.
guy.
Yeah.
I got him, and then
Thought.
next thing you know, he's sleeping in the desert.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Thought
that really
he had
sucks for
one.
Murray. He's just a lonely little cab driver. Like, I feel like they could have just smacked him around a little bit. I mean, he wasn't even gonna he was subletting the kidnapping. Like, he was just trying to hire someone to kidnap. That's like, how do you gonna middleman the kidnap?
Right.
Like, you have to just either be the kidnapper.
Yeah, I do all my kidnappings on myself.
Yeah. What do you
Like, hey, I'm gonna kidnap this guy. You wanna go do it for me?
Right. What?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck we talking about?
Hey, give him this ransom letter for $100,000. I'll give you $10,000.
You want
But
me-
you do all the kidnapping.
They
I'll keep
pull
the
up
other
in
half.
horse
Like,
and carriage and kidnap you and tie you up in a fucking.
You want me to come do this job with you? You're not even a kidnapper yet. You don't know what you're doing. I'm not working no first timer, man.
Right.
Tie you with a
Rookies.
lasso.
1972, the lawyer that owned the land the horseshoe was built on demanded increased lease payment on horseshoe's property.
Oh, see, I wasn't even thinking about. For some reason, I was thinking like he owned the land that the shit was on. He's got $1 million in a glass jar. Like, buy that shit. Why are you leasing it?
I don't know, Las Vegas real estate, like where
He owned the building.
he owned the building, yeah,
right.
but he didn't own the land.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's crazy that
own the
casinos
business.
still got like a landlord that just hikes up your rent.
Yeah.
It was probably a great deal in 1951 when
Yeah.
you pulled into Desert Town and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm gonna build
Fuck
this
it.
place. And now you
Right.
know, next thing you know, it's Vegas, and this fucking rich lawyer dude's like, hey, pay
Yeah.
up,
Nah.
bro.
Yeah. So how long till this guy gets found in the desert?
Well, they blew up his car in a parking garage.
Okay. All right. Not bad.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
I was about to make like, well, this isn't exactly a lonely cab driver. Like, this is a guy on the books or whatever. No, it turns out they're just gonna blow him up in the car.
No, you just
either
blow
way.
him up.
Fuck it.
Up the ante on
Fuck
us.
it.
He seemed
Put
to
the
always dig
TNT.
bombs and shit.
Yeah, it seems
Ignition.
like he has a real way of problem solving.
Well, you know, bombs used to be a big thing with the mob, but then it got too out of control in cities like Chicago and New York that are huge cities. And you're letting off these bombs in these really
Yeah.
compact areas. It was real bad. They literally did like a Geneva Convention where they got together and said, look, rules of war. We're not going to bomb each other in
Right.
cars no more because that's not cool. Like, we
Yeah.
can shoot each other on the street. But
He
let's
said,
not...
"Fuck it, it's a problem. Let
Yeah.
me blow shit up."
Well,
Like,
Benny,
That's last
He was
resort.
like,
Yeah.
every time I start my car, my butthole puckers. Can I please? I got hemorrhoids. Can we please stop this?
but Benny wasn't Italian.
It's a problem. Just blow him up.
Every
Fuck
time
it.
I want a cannoli, I gotta fucking risk my life. Fuck.
But yeah, Benny wasn't Italian, so he could still do it. So he was like, oh, I blow shit up. It works.
Yeah, it's part of what
They
I
didn't
got
find the
going.
lower half of that guy. I'm sticking
Yeah,
with the
well,
bombs.
You know, for me personally, I'm kind of partial to the pencil. I kind of want to go old school. I want to bring that back.
In Vegas, poker was a backroom game of casinos that offered it all because it didn't pay a lot of money to the house. But Benny used to allow these big head-to-head games for high-stakes players. So after years of doing that, he realized it would attract spectators that would watch these popular guys play poker, and then they go hit the tables.
So he started the World Poker Tour. He started.
Right, yeah. He started the world.
He started it. He went to jail for starting it, and then someone else started it the right way.
He started it all.
He did it illegal. Like,
Did he
did it
create
fucking
Texas
illegal.
Hold'em?
So in 1970, he arranged for 7 of the top poker players to play a cash game. And at the end of the game, the 6 players voted on a winner. And they voted for Johnny Moss, who won a small trophy. The next year, they moved to a freeze-out format with a $10,000 buy-in, and Benny named it the World Series of Poker.
God damn, he really did invent the
What
World Series.
the
of
fuck?
Poker. Jesus Christ.
Oh my
Let's just start making shit. What else do you want him to invent?
Right.
If anybody
Goddamn.
wants to know the history of poker, here it is.
This fucking guy. Just, hey, you guys think about dog racing? This guy created dog racing.
Yeah.
Let's go. Turns out he
Right.
stole all
Here's
that
the
guy's
history of poker,
chihuahuas and
guys.
started it.
So Johnny Moss again won the championship, and he made a $30,000 pot.
Oh, so he won it twice.
Yeah, he won the first 2 times. He ended up winning it. Like
He was
10
tied in
times-
with
10
Binion,
times,
probably.
but he won the first 2. And shit, well, he's a good poker player. You know,
Okay.
he's an old dude. He'd been around a long time. Shit. You know, he brought like his Doyle Brunson, Amarillo Slim, all those guys, the old school poker players. He'd bring them in because people would be like, hey, you know, Amarillo Slim's over there playing poker, and they go watch him and then go hit the craps tables, and it was fucking money and shit. In 1973, people thought Benny was crazy when he was quoted as saying one day the World Series of Pokers will have as many as 50 entrants. In 2019, the World Series of Pokers had 8,569 entrants and a grand prize of $10 million.
Oh,
Fucking guy.
he
Damn.
called it.
Shit.
In 1984, the Binion family commissioned a 15-foot tall, 2,800-pound bronze statue of Benny on horseback by sculptor Deborah Copenhaver. So they put it outside the Horseshoe parking structure. In 2008, it sold for $1, and now it's displayed in front of the Equestrian Center at South Point.
For $1.
Benny was also a key player in bringing the national finals of rodeo to Las Vegas from Oklahoma City, and it's been held at UNLV in Las Vegas since 1985.
Damn.
Yeah.
This guy makes shit happen, dude. I mean,
He said, I gotta go back to Oklahoma every year just to see this straight up. Fuck that shit. We're bringing it over
Bring it
here.
right
We're
here,
bringing it over
Bring
here.
it
Let's
right
bring
here.
this rodeo
Bring
on
it
back
on
now.
now.
He did have a record, and this you know this is true because I don't know what it means, but he's got the record for having the only 15-hand gelding to win the National Horse of the Year 3 years in a row. So, whatever.
I mean, that's a lot of
15-hand
words
gelding,
you
yeah.
just said.
what is
I
that?
mean,
3 years.
That's a lot of hands.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
That's
that.
like winning the Golden Gloves 3 times in a row. Like
he
back in the day.
boxes horses.
Yeah, it's a horse boxer.
Every year, the national finalist rodeo holds the Benny Binion's world famous bucking horse and bull sale.
God damn, how many bees is that? That's alliterative of
Bees
fuck.
and Bugging Band.
That was the Binion's backboard and boogie
Doug
boy.
Dimmadome, owner of the Dimmadale Dimmadome.
And it's one of the
Doug
only
Dimmadome.
things I
was
hit
a
first time through
Dimmadome.
today.
Oh, yeah, by the Give it up. That was good. You didn't stumble at all.
Yeah, he did.
I really
Spit
thought
that
you were going
right
to
out.
Porky Pig the fuck out of it, but you nailed it.
Now you
Or
put the pressure on. I'm about
Porky
to
Pig the
stumble
fuck
out
out
some
of- yeah.
whatever I'm about
That's
to
normal
say.
shit.
I already lost my spot. And
No,
shit.
it's going to take you 5 takes to say the word the.
All right. It was one of the world's largest stock auctions.
See? So he went back to his roots, back to
The
these stock
horses.
auctions.
And back to, yeah.
You know what? He got so old, lived a life. Now he wants to go back to just being that simple little boy that was too sickly for school. I just want to sit and look at some cows.
Yeah.
So Binion died of heart failure at the age of 85 on December 5th, 1989 in Las Vegas.
Damn.
It's a shitty year.
Before he died, he had an 83rd birthday party that he threw in Vegas that he offered free beer. Just
Oh, yeah. He
fucking
was out there
party.
living
Yeah,
it
open
up.
bar, baby.
Fuck
Nice.
yeah,
Get it.
83 or millionaire just in
Open,
Las Vegas.
open invite too.
Fuck.
Ready.
Oh.
Open to the public.
Yeah,
Open
I'm
to the
83.
public.
Grab
Walk
some beer,
in this
bro.
bitch and
Just
get
come in.
free beer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Drinking beer with everyone in Las Vegas before I die.
So one of the best resources you can find on him is by a guy named Doug J. Swanson. It's called Blood Aces. So if you wanted to like really get in the
That's a
details
good title.
of the eye poking and
They
shit,
gotta have
like-
a movie on this guy, you know?
Well, he sold the movie rights to it, but the company they sold it to went under.
So you're telling me the rights are up for sale?
So we can buy this real quick and
And
see if
make
they
a
want to
movie.
sell it for $1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kev, you could play Russian Louis.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's a decent role, though. I mean, there's some gangsters.
Some screen time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell
You, know,
you.
you get
shit.
some lines and shit.
Mexican
We'll get there.
chelada would be a Russian loose
Russian
drink.
Louis. Let's get it.
So after Benny Binion died, poker great Amarillo Slim described him. He was quoted that said, "He was either the gentlest bad guy or the baddest good guy that you've ever seen," which is almost a
Wow.
Yogi Berra quote. Like that was,
Right.
that's kind of genius and barely legible at the same time. So,
This is either extremely smart or completely dumb.
But he was right because even if he wasn't right, he could have been wrong, but he wasn't because to him he was right. So
Exactly.
all right, well that's the story of Benny Binion.
So say good night to the bad guy. Go on. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again, let me tell you.
I prefer to call it the Ballad of Benny Binion.
Benny the Cowboy.
Like a Binion
That's
cowboy.
Binion cowboy.
Bum,
So you guys haven't seen a picture of Benny yet. So if we
Mm-mm.
were gonna make a movie and we had to cast somebody to play Benny Binion, who would you cast to play him?
Oh my God. I think I know. Hold on. That's a great question. Man.
Dude, I don't know why, and for no fucking reason at all, Johnny Depp. Like,
Johnny Depp.
I got no idea why,
I
but it
thought
just
you were
pops
gonna-
in my head.
Well,
the fuck was I thinking like the same fucking thing?
Because it's fucking
Johnny
genius.
see, I
Yeah.
was thinking like an
Johnny
older
Depp.
version of him.
But like the
And I
old
was thinking
school
John
version of
Goodman,
Johnny,
the little
young,
chubby guy to play the
little
younger
fucking-
years. But
Bert said John Goodman. I was thinking along the same lines. He's dead, but if you know Brian Dennehy, I think Brian
Yeah.
Dennehy would
Well,
have
see,
been.
you guys are going with big guys. This guy
Burt
was too
Reynolds.
sickly to go to school. I don't think he ever bulked up. You guys got to be thinking tiny little straggly guys, I think.
well, you got it.
I think you guys are going big dudes. I
we were
don't think.
creating our own story here.
Here's a picture of Benny Binion.
True mob boss. True mob boss.
Oh shit! I guess John Goodman was a good ass
fucking nailed
call.
it.
That was good.
He's a skinny guy with a fat face.
Shit, and
You're gonna
this-
tell me that's him?
This isn't him super old either. So
That's fucking dude. That's John C. Riley.
so that
Oh,
one's-
that is.
That's John C. Riley.
Wow.
That's
That's
John
dope.
C. Riley.
I bet he could kill that shit, man.
For real though, I like all the photos that are on here. You can't see them now, obviously, but they pop up on the Instagram. In this one picture of him just posing outside with his hands on his hip,
I mean,
dude,
he's
that's fucking classic.
he's in
He's
the
living
mode,
it up.
yeah.
He has.
I fucking
grizzly-
love this guy.
and that's toward
He
the
has
end. Too.
grizzly fur
I
on.
loved
Yeah.
him halfway through the story, bro.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah,
Built
he's
this fucking.
Cool.
Dude, he's just shoving like big old guts and man tits, and he don't give a fuck. He's flashing them shit.
So now we gotta do the DEFCON scale. Now the standard DEFCON scale is 5 to 1. 5 being the lowest, 1 being the highest. Now on this podcast, nobody's good guys. So 5 is Lee Murray, who's your crack dealing, kidnapping, bank robber. And 1 is the Purple Gang, who's got multiple massacres, multiple gang wars, and they kill people on the street. So on a scale of Lee Murray to the Purple Gang, where would you rate Benny Binion?
I mean, at the time he died, bro, he was probably
He's a
probably
boss.
he was probably
I
a
mean,
4.
shit.
He was probably you know what I'm saying. He probably wasn't that bad of a guy.
5 all day. Sure, he stacked a couple of bodies, but they were dickheads. The only civilian that he killed was Marvin, and that's because that dumb fuck wanted to kidnap him and have somebody that was his boy. Like, other than that, this guy revolutionized Vegas. Everything that he implemented is Vegas today. He invented the everyone gets booze, everyone gets cheap food, and his whole philosophy, hey, I'm here for the working man. So really, all he did was fuck the state over, then revolutionize fucking Las Vegas.
This guy wasn't a bad guy.
DEFCON 5 all fucking day. This guy's my fucking hero. Nobody rocks a fucking 10-gallon hat and a bearskin nipples like this.
Buffalo skin. Let's go. Boop.
Go to Binion's right now, enjoy a whole rack of ribs, and
He has
get a
bison
picture in
fur
front of $1
on
million.
his coat.
$14 at the most.
He has bison fur on his fucking coat.
So what do you guys think? Go with the DEFCON 5?
No, yeah, he ain't that bad of a dude.
Yeah, no.
He's a gangster, but he did shit.
Dude probably had a fucking huge heart, bro. Like, he just had to, you got to chop a couple fingers off on your way, stab a couple eyes out. Fuck.
What are you going to do?
After my impassionate dissertation,
What are you gonna do?
of course I swayed the court.
All right, call that a DEFCON 5.
That's right. It's going to the streets. Hey, y'all, it's revolution up in this bitch. Set the alarm. DEFCON 5.
Now, before we go, you guys got anything?
Nothing. Shout out. This is October. 'Tis the season. Break out your hoodies. Watch some horror movies.
There you go.
What was your Instagram?
Sixfoe Burt, SIXFOEBURT on Instagram.
All right, let's just say hello to the bad guy. Thanks for coming, and thanks for listening.